Hey Dee, do we have one chat going or two? Do you know? Because I think I accidentally X'd us out of the other one. It's still showing up on YouTube as being live, but it isn't up on my computer, so I don't know. For all the people thinking I'm like techno whizzy, I'm not. I can prove it to you typically, like on a daily basis, I can prove I'm not. I think what I'll do is check to see. Okay, good. Now just one is showing up. So that's good. Now, where are you now? Oh, crap. Did I lose you again? Where are you? Oh, I can't believe me. There you are. Oh, I thought I lost you again. It looks like there's just one up, and it looks like this is it. Man, that was exciting for 2 seconds. Yeah, I just searched on the thing to see, and it looks like it's just this one. I can't believe it. Oh no, it's in the middle of the night for Elise. You missed the fun, Elise. I accidentally X'd out of the live chat and then didn't realize it at first. So it took a few minutes for us to gather up again. Who am I kidding? It took me a few minutes to figure out what the heck was going on. Oh wow, you guys are up at 4 a.m. Oof. Not good. Do you want us to start singing or something so you can go to sleep? That probably wouldn't put you to sleep. You'd probably be like, my ears hurt. Yes, at least you did get lucky because the start of the first one disappeared. Uh-oh. Ray's in pain. What's going on, Ray? Share your pain. Why are you in so much pain? Inquiring Bobs want to know. Oh, okay. Yeah, honey, it's going to be that way for what? 3 more weeks? You need to get your sleep. You're going to have like, you know, the energy to carry yourself around and the energy to go into that labor room with a good attitude, right? Maybe you should take your laptop into the birthing room. We could put you up on the panel. We could have a baby born on YouTube. I don't mean with any pictures. I'm just saying you could just give us the play-by-play, you know? Then we could hear the baby screaming. Wouldn't that be fun? Think about it, Ray. Even if, like, you just had your husband typing, you know? Then at the point that the baby comes, then you can, you know how the babies cry a little bit at first, right? You could, like, obviously make it a priority to include us in on the event. You could, like, designate all of us the baby's Bob mothers. 3.5 weeks, yeah, you're going to have to really get some good sleep. Oh, you don't have to get extra sleep for that labor pain then. Good for you. Yeah, we should just, put it on the calendar, ladies. Do you guys know that belly dancing started as a birthing dance? Did you know that? You know how people always think belly dancers are like sexy and stuff? Well, belly dancing was actually a dance by women for women, and it was when a woman was giving birth, then the belly dancers would dance in honor of the woman birthing, and it was basically a way to like celebrate the womb. That's what my belly dancing teacher taught me. I never heard that before either, Susie. But that's what she said, and she's really smart, and I believe her. Okay, good. Ray finds out the date on Monday. That's good. That'll give us plenty of time then to, make sure we're available. But yeah, the whole belly dancing thing, it's portrayed in Western culture as being some kind of a sexy dance, right? It isn't. It's a dance for women, by women. And if you've ever been a belly dancer, you know that it makes sense. It makes total sense because everything you're doing is with that core, like if I say the drums, do you know what I mean by the drums? The belly drums? Do you guys know what that is? Like everything you do in belly dancing starts with your womb. So it's really cool. It's a really good dance for perimenopausal and menopausal and pre-perimenopausal women. All right. Hope for Peace says that she's had her own dance studio for 10 years. And you didn't know that? Really? Do you teach belly dancing? Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why you didn't know. I mean, if you don't teach belly dancing. Oh, that's cute. Susie says, give me the drugs. Care less about the music. Give me the drugs. Not me. I'm an advocate for having babies without drugs. It's better for the baby, better for the mama, faster. Healing time is faster. And then you get to talk about your labor and delivery the rest of your life, right? Knowing every last detail. Hope Hope dances. Hope teaches tap, jazz, ballet, and acrobatics. Are you kidding me? I've never done acrobatics. The closest I came was we had a dance swing thing that there were like 6 swings hanging from the ceiling, and right, and we're supposed to like lay back in the swings and flip over and do all these different things. It was like I did that one time and I decided I'm paying for this class. I don't think so. And plus I looked at that ceiling, while we were doing all our little moves, and I looked at that ceiling thinking to myself, I know enough about construction to know, and plus I know that the owner of the dance studio, her husband's a great guy, wonderful guy, but I know that anytime they need anything repaired or anything, he's always the one taking care of stuff. I don't think he's a licensed builder or anything, right? And so I looked at the way the swings were constructed, the hooks and they had all these things hanging and stuff. And I looked up at that ceiling and I just wondered to myself, okay, what are the chances that he really hit the stud each time? You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know. So I did that one time and thought, yeah, I'm thinking I don't want to land on my head. Susie says she was in labor, O-U-R. I love the way you guys spell. For 2 days, then had a C-section. If you were in labor for 2 days, then you know what? Your doctor must not like women or something. Yeah, Ray's reminding us. Lots of Tylenol. Yeah, it just seemed kind of weird to me. I mean, I'm all for, different cool things. They had a really cool thing going on with drums and stuff, but it was weird because I mean it was fine, but I guess they had like a percussionist instructor, right? So they had a group of people with drums while the different classes were going on, which is really cool, but not cool. You know what I mean? A lot of us did that kind of just like exercise, fun, whatever. But, I don't really want to have like 8 to 10 guys sitting on the floor playing with drums while I'm, trying to figure out the swing. You know what I'm saying? I didn't mind it with the studio with the big windows out to the river and stuff. That was beautiful. But to have a bunch of guys sitting on the floor playing with drums, it was kind of like, yeah, what are they doing here? Like, I don't know. Thank you, dear. I like your name. None of your business. Thank you very much. I was thinking about that. The justice for Bella and Cece. If you just pull up the books that are available on Amazon or you pull up the videos that are posted on any given day about this case, what do you see about Bella and Cece? You don't. Unless you're here, you don't hear about them. And that really sucks. That tells you something, doesn't it, about the world we live in? All right. When the brilliant Miss Mensa accidentally clicked out of our live chat. That's why when people ask me to go check something out or whatever, I always go, ooh, I don't know. Because anytime I stray away, it's not sure if Grandma can find her way back. But that is something that I've noticed, you know. Do you ever see photos of just the girls? No, it's always their mother front and center, right? And the photos aren't about what Bella and Cece are doing. Did you see Bella and Cece ever get to ride a horse? Did they have horseback riding lessons? Did they get to go golfing? Even miniature golfing? Right? Did they ever go with mommy and daddy to the golf course? Did mommy and daddy ever get to go to the golf course? I mean, what did those little girls do for fun? They went to the daycare center and then they went to bed. When Cindy said how they were afraid of the dirt, how Bella was afraid of the dirt, she was pretty much saying they're afraid of everything. Well, I mean, the dogs, everything. That's not okay. That's called a warning flag, right? That's a warning sign. That's something that we should be talking about in the discussion groups. Yep, afraid of the rain. Afraid of the rain. And look at how that was handled. Look at how that was handled. Oh, honey, don't be afraid of the rain. Here, watch. I'll touch the rain and you'll see it's just water or whatever, right? I'm just throwing that out there for how it may have been handled instead of thinking it was cute, thinking it was funny. I mean, I'm surprised that the discussion groups have the gall to not notice. They have the nerve to pretend it away. I think instead of the other channel creators being, appalled, with their fake shock, right, that we would dare discuss this case, maybe we should start being appalled at their lack of discussing the case, at their lack of discussing the issues in this case, which really need to be addressed. It's like Bella and Cece didn't even exist in the other discussion groups. In our discussion group, it's like all we talk about. Because there's something very disgusting about somebody saying lots of Tylenol and everyone pretending that that's not a big deal. It is a big deal. I'd like to know what dose lots of Tylenol is. And I'd like to know why the hell anybody would have had the audacity to post that video, and why the hell people have the audacity now to whine when we discuss it. Aw, Susie, you're part of the Bitter Scorned Woman Club. You know what I was saying earlier about the radar? That's one of their little scripted phrases that's been going around right from the start. A bitter, scorned woman. You're just in love with Christopher Watts, Susie. We all know that. You're jealous. You're jealous of his wife, obviously. You probably tried the MLMs and never got anybody to sign up. They start off with bitter, scorned woman, and then you're psycho, and then you're fat, and then you're ugly, and then you're stupid. Before long, you kind of wonder if maybe you're accidentally in a kindergarten chat or something. Cindy said that he used to feed them in the middle of the night because they were hungry. And I figured after he said in his police interview that they'd feed the girls pizza and noodles usually for dinner, I figured, well, that's probably why they were waking up in the night hungry, right? Because, they just kind of had a starchy dinner, and so it wore off. So that's what I figured. But then I thought, I bet you that's when their night-night cocktail was wearing off. They probably, probably slept just fine on their night-night cocktail, and then when that wore off, I wonder if they gave them more in the middle of the night. Okay, I just read Medic's post. Okay, good. Okay, Sharon, I missed what you said. Hold on. Let's see here. Sharon. Oh, her, Susie. Let's see. Sharon. What someone said before in chat, their bodies would build a tolerance and more would be required. On that post yesterday, she had a pop at you. Medic, I almost said Meredith. Medic 25, will you please delete your last comment? Exactly, none of your business. Exactly. There's a lot to learn from this case, that's for sure. Shannon's Law should be about mental health. I don't think there should be a Shannon's Law. I think that when new laws are created, I think they should be created for the good of improving services and that sort of thing. I think that Shannon was probably getting plenty of services. And I'm sorry, but when we've heard from so many people saying that she was preying on them in those support groups, you know, I'm sorry. That's, in my opinion, that's very wrong. And then if you back it up a few years, I wonder who preyed on her, you know? Exactly. What did the girls go through? What was going on behind closed doors? Well, besides sleeping constantly or being at daycare. Medic, are you able to delete the comment that you made before the... Oh, there are a couple. Hold on. Yeah, go delete the comment. I mean, take a look at it and you'll know which one I mean. None of your business says, my mother was a lot like Shannon. She didn't want us, and we were dumped on any family member, friend, regardless if it was a safe place or not. Hmm. Are you sure she didn't want you? Or was she maybe just really struggling or something? Exactly, Susie. Exactly right. It's sad, isn't it? What a sad world when there really are just a handful of us who are focused, I think, primarily on what happened to those babies. Delyn Wyatt says they lived in a neighborhood with a huge pool and only once saw pictures of the girls at the pool. I just learned in like 2 or 3 live chats ago that there was even a pool. That's ridiculous. Why didn't she have those kids in that pool like regularly? And you know, if you think about it, look at how empty that garage was, right? Usually a garage has all sorts of kid stuff in it, like so much that you can't fit the car in. Can you guys hear the birds or no? They're singing. Hey, Medic, there's a way to just kind of blend in and there's a way to like not blend in. And, you know, you don't have to be a blender if you don't want, but just don't be surprised if we don't, like, engage. So when Sharon hears the bird, she's like, are those Mensa's birds or are those my birds? I need to get the Sweetwater up for the hummingbirds too, because they're looking at me like, where's my water? I think I called Medic Meredith. Did I call Medic Meredith? I think I may have. Leanne Hughes is here. MM, hey. What? Oh, the drama that's going on out and about. Right, Medic. That was an error if I called you Meredith. That's why I thought it was funny if I did. Did you delete that one comment or no? I don't want to scroll up because if I do, then I'll totally lose track of where I'm at. Oh, Lordy. None of your business says I'm tired of all of the lies about you, Miss Mensa. Well, just ignore them. They're weird. None of your business says you're Y-O-U-R. Take a look at that, Susie. We are not alone. You're one of them only people who has never wavered. I know. Yeah, Leanne. People email each other and say what's happening. Oh, for Pete's sake, Medic. Really? Stop it. Okay? Just stop it. Did you delete that comment? I agree, none of your business. I think so too. Exactly. And I think that other cases in the future could be avoidable if people would use this as a teaching moment and say, you know what? Maybe if I have a friend who's online saying, I just gave both of the kids lots of Tylenol, maybe I'm going to go, wait a minute here. This isn't okay. Or maybe if I have a friend who's going on and on about MLMs, maybe I'd be more vocal and say, okay, cut through the crap. Let me see your financials because you know what? They're either lying to you or you're lying to me. Do you remember how the friend was saying how she wanted the receipts for everything? She wanted the receipts to write them off on taxes. I think she wanted the receipts from Chris taking off his doinky out to the restaurant to write them off on taxes. Well, guess what? That's not how it's supposed to be. You're not supposed to just, say, hey, bring me your receipt from taking your lover out for dinner so I can write it off on our taxes. Well, she learned that somewhere. I have a feeling that those MLMs are like, yeah, save every receipt, and then you figure out the math, and you can, and I think they kind of like try to convince them that they're actually making money. None of your business is talking very quickly here. Let's see. What? Oh my, that's not good. She told you that? That's even worse. Is she just like a big mouth who says things she shouldn't, maybe? Like, did she really believe that, or was she just being really nasty that day? You know what I'm saying? Whoa, whoa. If you know she has mental issues, then doesn't that make a difference to you? That maybe it's not really her? Thank you, Miss CD. Thank you. You were outside planting flowers. How cool is that? So it must not be rainy where you're at, huh? Or it will be soon, so it's a good time to plant flowers. Yes, he should have protected those babies, but think about this. What if he fell in love, he got married, they got pregnant, and then all of a sudden he saw something about his lovely that he didn't realize before she got pregnant? And what if he was convinced that at that point he wouldn't be able to divorce, of course, right? He would feel that way, right? What if he found out that there was some sort of a mental illness going on and he would have, you know, figured the in sickness and in health, right? And then boom, she got pregnant right away with Bella or with Cece. Well, she got pregnant right away with Bella too. Where does this fertility issues crap come from? So think about that. All of a sudden she's pregnant again, you know? And if you think about those videos, how he's always the one feeding them, he's always the one, doing the steam shower thing, right? He's doing everything. He is even picking them up from daycare. He's doing everything. Maybe he was dealing with a wife who needed, you know, you know what I'm saying? Plus, remember, he wasn't getting any sleep at all, probably for years. Sleep deprivation is real. He didn't have access to his money, right? It's his own fault, but still, he didn't have access to his own money. Ooh, Miss CD has a date to tell us about. Miss CD says she loved Chris because he kissed her arse. I think that she got herself somehow into that house, had no clue what she was in for, and decided his paycheck would do. I think by the time he realized some of the issues, that they were already pregnant. That's what Cindy said, Miss CD, is that she kept people around her who would basically do what she told them to do. Sharon's going to go make a coffee. Make one for us too, Sharon. Oh, Miss CD, you can be the first proposal on this channel, but we're going to have a baby in 3.5 weeks. And on Monday, we find out what day. So be prepared to clear your calendar because we're hopefully going to hear the baby cry on this channel. And hopefully, too, we'll hear Mama say something like, oh, she's beautiful, or something like that. Although Mom's still going to be pretty drugged up, I think. Maybe Dad can say, oh, she's beautiful. And then we'll give Dad a honeydew list so that when Ray wakes up from surgery, then he'll have like flowers. And Miss CD says, I work Sunday night and Monday night. That's okay because she gets the date on Monday. Monday, she finds out the date. Okay, I don't know what you mean when you say I would try to help the person and be honest. Is that like 5 minutes ago, maybe? Put your little arrow thing all the way to the end because I think you're like a 5-minute lag time. Miss CD says, I'm a real nurse, you know. Yeah, sure you are, Miss CD. Sure you are. I bet you got accepted right away as soon as you applied to one of the most prestigious nursing programs in the area. Even without taking anatomy or and physiology, and even without having any prereq classes. And did you know that they don't call it clinicals anymore? They call it clinical. Christopher Watt's wife was at clinical. Aria says, I'm late to the party. Better late than never, Aria. Sharon's making us coffee now, so I hope you like coffee. She's a kick butt coffee maker. Oh, Miss CD and I are both saying kick butt. Miss CD says, nursing school kicked my butt. Clinicals, well, okay, now I believe you're a nurse. I've always believed you're a nurse, but I'm glad you know that it's clinicals and not clinical. Exactly. Clinicals are at the very end. And you tell me, why did she have an anatomy and physiology textbook when she wasn't signed up yet for anatomy and physiology? As any of us know, you don't get your textbook until you're signed up for the class. But she was posting on social media that she was willing to give people the passcode to the tutorials, to the flashcards, you know, the study guides through her anatomy and physiology textbook. Like, what'd she do? I don't know, go to a yard sale and find some nurse's old textbooks or something? You know what I'm saying? Ooh, Aria bleeds coffee. Okay, that's kind of gross. Leanne Hughes says, MM, and the community nurse is at the same qualification as a nurse in a hospital. Well, one thing we've learned from the case of Christopher Watts, and this is what we've been told, is it doesn't matter if you're really a nurse. It's okay to call yourself a nurse. If you think you're a nurse, I guess it's part of that, you know, self-identifying routine. If you want to be a nurse, then you can say you're a nurse. That's okay. And I'm kidding, of course. But that's what we've been told repeatedly. Miss CD says A&P is one of the first. And a lot of nursing programs during that time frame, because remember, she said she started the first week of January 2012. She said she was accepted, of course, in late 2011. During that time frame, there was a shortage of nursing student spots. There was a shortage, a severe shortage. So what they were doing is they were actually asking students to start off by taking, I don't know, XYZ, however many classes, with A&P being one of the classes. They wanted to see a 3.5 or better. They wanted to see a 4.0 in A&P because there were so few spots available. Oh, coffee's ready. And you remember too, Miss CD, how she said she didn't like math. I'm thinking if you don't like math, that probably nursing isn't your thing. And I think that might have shown up on the application. None of your business? Your comments look like you're about 5 minutes lag time. And think about this too. She miraculously was accepted into a nursing program which didn't exist. She told people it was a 4 years into RN program, that in 2 years she would have a 4-year degree and be an RN. But I dug in, and guess what? That school in that time frame did not list that program in their course offerings. Leanne says that the banana is done with the mock trial after the drama the last few days. She deleted all of her videos. Did she really? Yes, very much so, Cosmo. Hi, Cosmo. Very much so. Miss CD says, yeah, I use the algebraic formula a lot. What you have over how much, X your order over blah, blah, blah. Exactly. If you're math challenged, then please don't be a nurse, right? Go to law school. If you're math challenged, go to law school. Cosmo says that SW was a magical thinker, and I agree with that. I agree with that. I think there's another word for it too. Oh, Susie says there's another schedule up for Monday. Sharon says, oh, I hope not. I like that mock trial. Sharon says, I don't mind who I watch. Doesn't bother me if they're part of a pack of weirdos. You guys have no scruples. You guys are going to laugh at this. You know, I didn't go to college. Well, I did go to college just for one term back when I was young. But I was already a mom. I was already working full time and everything. And then I was trying to do college on top of it. And I was like, yeah, maybe not. So anyway, when I was in my 50s, I got my degrees. Okay. And let me think. It was after my associates or before my, I'm not sure if it was for my associates or my bachelor's. No, it's for my bachelor's because I had already had algebra for my associates, but then this was like a ooh wow algebra. And I remember the first day of class, I remember sitting there and okay, I'm guessing I was like 52 or 53 or something. I don't know how old I was, 50 something. 51 or 2. And I love the professor too. She's wonderful. She and I became friends. She's in Mensa, and I'll tell you, the woman is brilliant. But she moved to Colorado too. I should actually call her up and say, "Hey, go check out that house for us. We have questions." Anyway, so the very first day of class, most of the students were like in their 20s, right? And that was at university. It wasn't at the local college. And the very first day of algebra class, whatever the name of the class was, I don't know, but it was like, and she's welcoming everyone and talking about algebra and how much she loves it. And she actually, these words came out of her mouth. You may not realize it, but you'll use this. What you learn in this class, you will use this in every area of your life. You're gonna come to lean on this, what you're gonna learn here, da 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 da. And I'm sitting there, 51, 52 years old, thinking to myself, liar. Because I already made it to age 51 or 52 without needing that class. So it was kind of funny. I guess it wasn't that funny, but whatever. Aria says the house is listed as being owned. Really? So did they buy it now? That's interesting. That's interesting, isn't it? I wonder when that change was made. So yeah, I think it's a pretty safe bet that I don't think she would have been accepted into any nursing program to begin with. Which begs the question, why was she posting that she was in a nursing program? And how many other things, right? How many other things were we told that just came to the surface later going, yeah, okay, whatever. Sure. We should list out all of the lies we've been told. I think that'd be interesting. Okay, let's see here. I'm searching for something. Searching. I just swayed away from the thing, so I hope I don't lose you guys again. If I do, I'll be back. I'm not finding what I'm searching for. I'm still looking. Oops. Man, I must just be tired or something because I'm just not finding what I'm looking for. Usually I can accidentally land on it faster than this. Let's try this again. Okie dokie, I think I'll find it now. No, maybe not. Here we go. I just didn't know where to look. Okay, that's not what I want. But at least now I know where to look. Here we go. Okay. Ding, ding, ding. And it takes me right back to where I was. Oh, they've changed it a little bit. Let's see. Okay, we'll try it again because we don't give up very easily. Okay, I am not a robot. Oh, now we have to do this. Let's see. There's one. There's one. There's one. I think that's all. Oh, there's one. Okay. Oops. I missed one. There's one. Where else am I missing one? There's one. I think that's it. Hmm. Okay, now let's see. Just taking a peek here. Still taking a peek. Okay, here we go. Interesting. Oh, okay. I understand what you're saying. Okay. Now I understand what you're saying. Oops, where are you? Oh, crap. Did I lose you guys again? There you are. Okay. Yes, I think listing the lies would be interesting. Okay. Who was it who said that about the transfer of ownership? Was that none of your business? Samantha Irwin wants to know what you guys were popping off at the banana about. Let's see here. I agree, none of your business. I don't think so at all. Totally agree. Okay. I think for those of you who were saying there was a transfer of ownership, I think what you're really thinking or talking about or seeing or being told is that there was a lien slapped on the property because there's a judgment out there for some insane amount of money. And that doesn't mean that it's ownership. It means that at any point that it changes hands, if there is any money left over, then it goes toward that lien. Yeah, I'm not sure about the dynamics of all the twisting and turning, but people have been emailing me about different people starting their own channels and stuff, and evidently nude pictures. I don't know, what is it with the case of Christopher Watts that nude pictures are such a thing? I'm different than you guys. Once, I guess I'm kind of like, once I figure out what someone's made of, then I just go, done. Like, and I don't mean like I try to come up with 1,000 different excuses how they wouldn't really be what I'm wondering if they are. But if they prove it and prove it and prove it and prove it, then it's like I can't stand to hear their voice, you know? If they've proven it over and over again, I just can't stand to hear their voice. And it's really too bad. Do you remember when we were talking about Alice Cooper one time? And I said, you know what? The sad thing is that she would have a really good dollar store channel if she would just stick with the dollar store channel and not try to be like the, mob boss or something. You know, if she just like drove around in her family van and talked while she drove on her way to the dollar store, I think she'd have a nice, channel. And I don't think they understand that they could actually probably rake in more money if they would just try to figure out what they do well, because they really don't do the fight thing very well. They should figure out what they enjoy. And I think that Alice Cooper enjoys dollar stores. So, she should hang out in the dollar stores more often and forget trying to be so tough, because she doesn't do tough right. Like, she doesn't do it right. You got to actually be tough to be tough. I know it. I sent Paula an email, Miss CD, and told her that we're live. So she's probably out like doing a parade or traveling to go see the fireworks over the big lake. Right. And I think she would do a lot better to just go do dollar store stuff, because that's her niche. Oh, okay. Yeah, you guys are saying that about a signed copy. I can make that happen somehow, just not today or anytime soon. I'd have to. I mean, you guys realize it'd be like because the way it is now, they go directly to you. So we'd have to figure out. I guess I could. I don't know. You don't want a signed copy. I could just like sign an index card or something, and you guys could slip it in the book. Maybe I could do my signature and add a page to the book, but that's not really a signed copy. That's a cheesy idea. I know I'm excited to hear what you guys think after you read it, because it's like I was saying to Ray earlier. It's kind of like having a baby, right? Like it was a process. It was a work in, you know, it was like remember how I had it done, and then we had a couple of live chats, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to change this now. Remember, stuff was happening. Do you know? Do you remember back when the circus came to town? Do you remember how that one guy had a lawyer for Ronnie and Cindy to help Chris, and the lawyer was going to work pro bono and all that? I had that book done then. I had that book done. It was going to be up before, I think it was either Halloween or Thanksgiving. It was one of those. I had that book done. And then when that happened, I was like, what? Okay, I'm not submitting my book now, right? And then we had to let a couple months go by to see how bad the circus was, and it was bad. And then another circus, started up again. And then when I thought I had it done again, remember when we had that one live chat and it was like, maybe they were gaslighting her. Remember that? It totally changed everything. And then I had it done again, and remember the drastic measures time? I was like, I'm going to change it. Oh my goodness. So I was so glad to submit it and to go, oh, yes, that's a 10-pound baby right there. It will be interesting to hear what you guys think, though, because as it was a work in progress, obviously, for a long time. And just based on all the crap that was happening, it had to keep hanging there without being completed. I mean, it was already completed, but you know what I'm saying. And then as I read through it, I just think it's all right here. It's all right here. If I was a juror and if that case had gone to trial and the judge explained to the jurors exactly what reasonable doubt meant, right? If the prosecutor in the closing statement, if the defense lawyer in the closing statement laid it right out, exactly what it meant, with all of the information that we've learned about this case, how could anybody vote guilty? How? Where's the physical evidence? And I'm not sitting here going, oh, he's innocent. I'm not saying that. That isn't the question that a juror is asked to vote on. You know, the court doesn't say, are you voting guilty or innocent? Right? The question is, has the prosecutor proven beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant is guilty? And that's a yes or no. That's a guilty or not guilty. Not guilty does not mean innocent. Not guilty means that the prosecutor did not prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he's guilty. And that's an important difference, right? But not only are we going, hey, wait a minute, where's the physical evidence? Not only are we saying, I don't know, did he know what happened? Not only are we saying, what? She had a temper? Really? Not only are we saying, what? She wasn't a retired nurse? Really? I don't know about you guys, but when we were told that she didn't go in for prenatal care, that was one bit of information that made me go, what? What? All this crap we're being told and she didn't go in for prenatal care? I mean, if I wouldn't have even known her, if I would have just known her from Facebook or something and she joined some, well, I don't have lupus, thankfully, but if I was in one of those groups that she signed up for and she sat there talking about being pregnant and going in for her first prenatal care, I would have gotten involved. I would have said, why haven't you gone in for prenatal care? That makes no sense. You know, I would have said so. Of course, she probably would have blocked me within 3 seconds, right? That's one of the things that's kind of hard to figure out is, like, if you think about Cindy Watts, like, she saw things she was concerned about, but she didn't really have a way of speaking up because to speak up would have meant she would have been ghosted. Even look at what she said about Cece with her tantrum. You know, Cindy Watts is being lambasted for saying that she needs to learn she can't always get what she wants. Well, Cindy Watts was right. By age 3, Cece should have learned not to grab food. She should have learned that she can't always have what she wants because her mother was claiming she was deathly allergic and severely anaphylactic to certain foods. Cindy said that out of a place of love and protection and caring about the child. She needs to learn. She can't just grab whatever she wants. But how is she being portrayed? She's being portrayed as her cutting down Cece or her bashing Cece or whatever. Baloney. What she said is perfectly, exactly spot on. Cece should have known by then. She should have been trained by her parents by then that she couldn't have whatever food she wanted. Miss CD says, did you see where Scott Peterson's death sentence was overturned? Yes, I did. And I say good. It should be overturned. I'm surprised it took this many years. I agree, Miss CD. And if you think about how little time they spent together, then it just makes sense that the children weren't trained. I think what Cindy said was from a very concerned, I think her intentions were out of concern, but she's being portrayed as being some sort of a dippo who was trying to, say something nasty. No, not at all. If she's a 3-year-old who's deathly allergic and severely anaphylactic, which I don't believe for 1 second, but if that's the story that we're going with, then yeah, she shouldn't be grabbing stuff. Exactly. They were in bed more than they were awake. Here's something else, you guys. What I was saying earlier about how Chris may not have known there was a problem until they were pregnant. Have you seen the blog that Shannon created when she was pregnant with Bella? She posted and she posted and she posted some more, right? And you know how you are, right? You post and you post and you post. Well, pretty much if you're going to do a pregnancy blog, you're going to put a picture of the baby when they're born, right? You're going to talk about the APGAR scores. You're going to talk about the length and the weight and all and how much hair, right? On her pregnancy blog for Bella, from 32 weeks on, she didn't post anything. Nothing. Now we've all been pregnant, or we have cats, or we have dogs who just night before last had 5 babies. So we know that last month, and if you don't know, just ask Ray. That last month, those last, especially even like the 8 weeks before, that's when you're posting. That's when you're talking about the baby nonstop. That's where you're talking about your pregnancy nonstop. And when that baby's born, that's when you're posting. But at 32 weeks along, she stopped posting completely. Why? Well, let's think of an answer for that. Why? Maybe there was an issue. And maybe when she was 32 weeks into the pregnancy, with 8 more weeks to go, maybe that's the moment. Maybe that's the moment that Christopher Watts realized that there was more going on. I think that is glaringly obvious that there was something very weird going on for a pregnant mom who's posting and posting and posting to suddenly stop posting and to not have any posts at all of the baby. I also think it's very odd that the photos of Cindy Watts disappeared. Hey, MJ. MJ just made it to the party. Sharon's got the coffee. Sharon, we need another cup. MJ just got here. It's kind of like the autopsy not mentioning any patch, right? If she didn't have a patch on when she died, and we know from her own words that she took the patch off as soon as she woke up, and that within 20 minutes she had the new patch on, well, that just kind of, I would say logic would dictate then she died within 20 minutes of waking up. And I feel the same way about that blog. If she was posting ad nauseum for the first 32 weeks of the pregnancy and then all of a sudden nothing, well, I think logic would dictate that she had some kind of serious issue going on, and that issue lasted a long while. And we do have enough nurses in our group to know what that issue may have been, right? And I'm sorry, but when we find those posts of Shannon saying she's, checking out or signing out or however you say it, at a hospital in Indianapolis for over a month straight, and we asked the question repeatedly, what was she doing there? And the best we get back is she wasn't there. You don't have to be there to say you're there. Okay, well, why would she be saying she's there for over a month if she wasn't there? Again, logic would dictate that if for over a month straight she's saying she's at a hospital in Indianapolis, that she may have been at a hospital in Indianapolis, right? It's kind of like other information that we've discussed when people just say, oh, no, that's not true. Nope, that didn't happen. Well, maybe it did. There's something else. Let me think before I lose my train of thought. What was it? It'll circle around here. There was something else that the people who were attacking us were saying, oh, I know what it was. Okay, good. Phew, it circled around. Samantha says they do have good mental health hospitals, and the particular hospital that she was checking out at had like an award-winning 5th floor mental health facility. So I thought that was interesting. But this thing that just circled on by here, okay, when they were attacking us and coming up with all their baloney stories, one thing that they were saying was how she was such a great mom. Just look at how well she handled flying alone with the children. And they propped up that whole flying alone with the children thing over and over again. Okay? She didn't fly alone with the children. So, you got to ask yourself, okay, why are they making that such a weird part of their storyline as they run around attacking other people? Well, think about it. Then we get the phone calls and we get the people posting how there was an open CPS case and that one of the limitations in the family plan was that she was not allowed to travel alone with the children, that she was not allowed to drive if the children were in the car, that she was not, blah, blah, blah. The list is long of what we were told. So it totally explains how the scumbag attackers, who were evidently hired or recruited to try to, hold up the, oh, she was a retired nurse crap, kind of explains, I guess, why their narrative was, oh, yeah, she was such a good mom because she did so well handling 2 kids all by herself on the plane. She wasn't by herself on the plane. And I'm sorry, if you're a mom, like, did that ever impress you that she handled her own children on a plane? What? I guess every single day in every single city, there are moms traveling with children on a plane. And it doesn't necessarily mean, that you're a super mom because you can hop on a plane with your kids, right? But that was part of what they were pushing. Oh, she was such a good mom. Look at how well she handled flying alone with her children. And then we found out, they almost said it like one too many times because then it got a lot of us going, wait a minute. And it didn't take long to figure out that they were lying. She didn't fly alone. But isn't it interesting that that would have been one of their lies? Considering what we're told by the people insisting there was a CPS case open at the time of the tragedy with the family plan in place that restricted her, that limited her, that demanded that she not fly alone or travel with the children or drive even if the children were in the car. You see what I'm saying? It's like the scumbag attackers who were either hired or recruited. Obviously, they were organized. It's like they went along and just kept lighting the path with all the crap that was coming out of their mouths, even when they were attacking us. We took what they were saying about us and we talked to each other and went, huh? This is weird. So then we took those things they were saying about us and we said, well, maybe it's true for Shanann, or Shannon, as her birth family calls her. And sure enough, back when this case was first being discussed, we didn't know that that white wedding dress wasn't the virgin bride until they started attacking us for crap. Then we started going, I wonder. Like they were lighting the path, it seems, for exactly what they were hired or recruited and organized to keep hidden. Hope for Peace is sharing her travel experiences with her babies. Hope for Peace went to Florida with her 3-year-old and 6-month-old and 2 connections, all by herself, and she was just fine. Exactly. I remember racing through O'Hare with 3 babies in tow. Well, they weren't babies. Older, mid-older, and then younger, and definitely had to keep my eye right careful because that place was a zoo, let me tell you. At one point, you know how they have those sidewalks moving? I picked out the stranger who looked least likely to be a weirdo, and I asked him if I could please place my child's hand in his hand because you remember I had suitcases too. And he said yes, so I did have a little help there. Leanne says that Chris texted Shannon and told her he was stopping at his parents' for the night. One night, she didn't let him. That's not the story I heard. Did you see a text? Because the story I heard was that he was at his parents' and a storm came up, a really bad storm. And now maybe he texted her and said he was going to go ahead and stay the night. I guess I just assumed he had called her, but you guys are texters and I don't think like that. But she evidently, if he texted her, then she called him or whatever. But she evidently said, no, you're not. She ordered him to leave immediately or she was going to come and get him. And then he didn't want to cause a scene. He didn't want her, because he fully believed she would come and get him. And so he asked his dad to drive him back in the middle of the storm. But it could have been a different day or a different night, Leanne. Or it could have been that he texted her and said, hey, I'm going to stay overnight. And she might have called him then and said, no, you're not. And then the other thing I was told was that when he did make it there through downed power lines and flash flood warnings and traffic lights that weren't working, that they had a talk on the back porch that lasted for 3 hours long, supposedly to work on their marriage. But I have a feeling it wasn't working. Oh, I know, Leanne. I know. There's all sorts of different variations. Yeah, 3 hour talk. And evidently, what I was told was that during the 3 hour talk to save their marriage or to work on their marriage, that she reminded him repeatedly that his father was dumb and his mother was evil. I don't know. She was saying to her friends that he was acting kind of distant. I'm thinking, if you're going to sit through 3 hours of hearing that your father is dumb and your mother is evil, you might act a little distant. Well, Nutgate kicked it off in a way, but I think that she may have already been sensing that whatever her drastic measures were, wink, wink, that she wasn't going to be able to be with the one she truly belonged with. And people talk about how, oh, she didn't let Cindy and Ronnie see the kids. That's the narrative, right? Oh, she didn't let Ronnie and Cindy see the kids. If you're focused on Bella and Cece and discussing how they suffered, then you look at it and go, that's just terrible. She didn't let Ronnie and Cindy see the kids, right? If you think that Ronnie's dumb and Cindy's evil, then you're looking at it and saying, and I've had these people say this to me, that she did the right thing because Cindy's house wasn't safe and Cindy hated her and all that other stuff, right? It's all about Ronnie and Cindy not being able to see the kids. Well, turn it around. Turn it around. Let's call it what it really is. She's saying to Bella and Cece, no, you can't see your Mimi and Papa. No. Because you and I both know Bella and Cece would have wanted to have seen their Mimi and Papa. So we're not even just talking about a daughter-in-law saying that her mother-in-law is evil, right? What we're talking about is a mother saying, no, nope, out of your life. And we're already talking about a mother who was with two children for 5 weeks straight apart from their father during that 5 week time frame. Okay, if you have a 3-year-old and a 4-year-old who are heavily dependent on their father, which they were, who picked them up every day at the daycare center, right? Who hung up their laundry, cleaned the house, got them their drinks, stood there holding them while she talked on the phone or on her videos. He was attentive to those girls. And the plan for 5 weeks straight was for them to not be near him? What? Are those good ages to do that? I don't know, a couple weeks maybe. 5 weeks is a long time to take kids away from their primary parent. Leanne says a few weeks before they died, there's a video with kids on a trampoline at the Watts in North Carolina and paddling in a pool. Was that before they came back to Colorado? Yes, it was. When Ronnie and Cindy learned that they were coming for 5 or 6 weeks, for 6 weeks, they went out and got a pool and they got a trampoline. And then the plan was for Shannon and the girls to stay at the Watts house on the weekends and to stay with her other grandparents during the week. So those photos are from the first few weeks when they were there before the nut meltdown. Or those videos, I mean. Samantha says she was using that situation as manipulation. Her love interest didn't want her or didn't work out. I think that she found out that her love interest wasn't into her at all. And so I think she was stressed. And I think when Cece started crying, she lost it. And then once she lost it, I think she had to try to make it into a big whatever. Plus, I think she was trying to make sure that she could somehow convince Chris that the girls wouldn't be allowed there. Because I don't think she thought she was going to get custody. That's another part of the whole storyline, you know, where they say, oh, yeah, he annihilated his family because he didn't want to have to pay alimony. What? He wouldn't have had to have paid alimony. But that's the story. There was a comment just the other day posted on the channel talking about the nuts. And they literally posted a comment saying, well, she was a nurse, so she would have known. I mean, somebody 3 years later is still saying she was a nurse. Right. Susie said she took her shopping for food, etc. Yeah, she took her to Walmart and spent $375 on her. I thought that was interesting. If you were saying you were 34 years old, and if you were saying you were super successful with a bunch of MLMs, and if your mother-in-law took you up to Walmart and you all loaded up a couple of carts, that would have been a couple of heavy carts. Would you have stood there while your mother-in-law paid $375 for all the crap you threw in the cart? I'm thinking she wasn't successful. And I'm thinking Cindy saw right through it. And if you look at that blog I was talking about, the gifts, Ronnie and Cindy bought like I'm trying to think, I think the high-end stroller, the high-end high chair. You know, I just kind of glanced. I don't really know exactly. I didn't take inventory, but it sure looked to me like Ronnie and Cindy were pretty much the solid, you know, she showed a whole bunch of photos of what she bought at a consignment shop. She said she got $1,200 worth of toys at the consignment shop for $200. And she put pictures of used toys on the blog that she created for the pregnancy. A lot of pictures of used toys, okay? A lot of pictures. But she didn't have any photos from 32 weeks on. So what happened at 32 weeks? That's what I want to know. What happened from 32 weeks on? Come on, Chris. Why don't you start talking? Miss CD says that Cindy tried hard. I think they did get along. But I think they got along because Cindy bit her tongue. I think they did get along. I think that Shannon knew she could count on Cindy. I think she trusted Cindy. Because I'm here to tell you, if they weren't getting along, there's no way she would have had Cindy babysitting when she went on that 5-day vacation. No way. I think they got along fine. Here's the other part. Let's get a little bit picky here on the nut meltdown. The story goes that supposedly Cindy put Cece's life in danger and that she did the right thing by yelling at Cindy. And then she called her ride and said, "Get me the hell out of here now." That's the story. The truth is, Cindy kicked her out. For once in all those years, Cindy didn't bite her tongue. She kicked her out. She told her to leave her house. She told her she had to leave her house. I think, it's a minor point maybe, but I think it matters. Because the story goes that she had some sort of high standard about not wanting her child to be deathly allergic and severely anaphylactic to the evil grandmother who was, throwing nuts in the air or something. In reality, they were getting along just fine. Everything was just fine. Cece pitched a fit, threw herself on the floor, and Shannon joined her with having a temper tantrum. She went over the line. She violated the boundaries big time of how any adult should behave. She came charging towards Cindy down the hallway, yelling at her that she attempted to murder Cece. Okay, now if this woman cared so much about whether or not little Cece was exposed to any kind of allergen, do you know what those kids did as soon as she started yelling? And it wasn't from her yelling, it was from the scary look in her eyes, according to the children. All of the children ran together and hid together, which means that the children who were touching the killer ice cream were touching the children who were supposedly severely anaphylactic and deathly allergic to the allergen, right? Well, if your child needs to have a bubble, you're not going to be spending your time yelling at your mother-in-law. You're going to be spending your time saying, hey, go wash your hands, right? And I don't even think it's passive-aggressive. Oh, okay, you're talking about Facebook. That's different. I was going to say, I think it was abusive. I think it was outright abusive. And I don't think it was only Cindy who was abused that day. I think each child who was present, who had to witness that crap, was also traumatized. And personally, in my opinion, I think Cindy was traumatized that day. Samantha says it's clear that she was not allergic, I think. I'm not sure what you're saying. Clear that CW? Well, I think you're saying that it's clear that Cece was not allergic to anything. I don't think they were allergic to anything. I don't think they had familial Mediterranean fever. And you know what? I highly doubt that they would have had asthma if not for having a parent who wanted them to have asthma. That's one of the core issues of this case that needs to be discussed. People who are working in the helping professions need to be trained. They need to have awareness training. They need to know what signs to look for. They need to understand that the person driving up in the Lexus is just as apt to be giving their child lots of Tylenol as the person driving up in a rust bucket. Exactly, Miss CD. Although, they'll claim that they don't have, that they didn't have at the time, I think is what they're saying now. They didn't have at the time, but they decided to add them in later. Yeah. Yeah, I believe that. Don't you? Yes, I agree, Samantha. Essential oils. Just imagine the wheezing and raspiness. Susie says, Facebook is the devil. I agree with you. But that's one way that we can learn from this case and promote awareness is to say, what dose is lots of Tylenol? What dose? What dose is lots of Tylenol? And I'm sorry, but if any part of what she posted was true, how often those girls were sick, then why? Why weren't people getting involved? Or, as many of us believe, they were involved. Why aren't they honest about it now so that society can actually learn what we need to learn so that we can be aware and help other children if their parents are dosing them up at night and making them stay in their beds for 12 to 13 hours straight every night. Shenanigan Maker says, and why her registers contained male and female. I only saw the female ones. The only register I saw, I think it was Amazon, but I'm not sure, and it was all for little girl stuff for the last pregnancy. And you know what? If any of you have ever had a child with asthma, then you know you're not wanting to dope them up so they sleep. You don't. Isn't that kind of basic, again, logic? Exactly. Exactly. How do you say your name? Cope? Had to have a 4.0. Exactly. And you're exactly right. You cannot just call yourself a nurse. It is absolutely offensive. And I'll tell you what else is offensive. Every person who has lupus, every person who has fibromyalgia, every person who's diabetic, every person who has high risk pregnancies, fertility issues, celiac disease, you name it, she had it, right? Every person who actually does suffer with those conditions, diseases, illnesses, syndromes, whatever, gets a little bit offended when they hear things like Shannon telling her mother-in-law that she was cured. It was okay for her to be in the sun because she was cured. Exactly, Miss CD. Exactly right. We should rename the channel something like Logic 101 with the Watts case or something. Like, let's just look at the logic. We'll start off with a list of lies and then we'll apply logic. MJ, if you can fix your last comment, please do, because we do initials here. But yes, I did wonder about a resemblance too. But if you would correct that, that'd be great. If you can't correct it, if you would delete it, that'd be great. Maybe I should start another book. The lies of whatever, Yes, Cosmo. People have sent me actual literature from some of the MLMs, and they actually suggest that they find people who are going through a rough time, right? Who are looking for an opportunity, target single moms. Well, guess what? Every single mom out there should be pissed to think that those MLMs are telling their faithful few followers to target single moms. That should piss everybody off. Because what they're actually doing is they're targeting children when they choose families that they're not going to give a rip, I guess, if they lose their home. When I do my next book, I think I'll do it without telling you guys, though, because you guys just have way too many good ideas for titles and stuff. I'll just go ahead and do it. It's faster that way. I'll totally take a break totally from YouTube and just write it and then come back and go, okay, good, I wrote a book. Oh, no problem, MJ. No problem. Everyone does it like all the time. And then when I see it, sometimes I don't see it, but when I see it, I say, change that, delete it, whatever. We all do it. All of us do it. This is the no apology zone. The no apology zone. I can't talk. Sharon, I need more coffee. Ooh, Samantha. Huh. Well, I'm working on a Darla Routier one, but I could probably whip that out really fast. The truth behind the lies. That does make sense, Sharon. We know what you're saying. I have a friend who owns a bookstore, and the bookstore is old. It's in one of those old buildings with like the bay windows upstairs and stuff. It's an old building, and it's cool. Like that bookstore can only be in an old building. You know what I mean? It makes it more of a bookstore. And some of the books in there are like from forever ago, and you just holding them, and just looking at the bindings, it's like, oh, this is a book. Thanks, Sharon. Can you put a little bit of caramel and cocoa on the top? Just a little. Just a spritz of caramel and just a little bit of cocoa. Yes, I know it. The older, the better. Women in books and wine, right? I have a friend who's into the Civil War era. He has some really cool family history too. Oh, I mean, it's just like sometimes when we talk, we do the phone marathon thing, and sometimes when we talk, he's a retired minister, so he's very like he's a really good speaker, and he has like that voice. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes when we talk, I'll say to him, or he'll say to me usually, here's your whatever from history, or here's your history lesson, or here's your Civil War, whatever. And then he'll tell me a story, like totally out of the blue, just, because he reads daily, of course, being a retired minister. And not to say he sits around reading, but because he's very busy. But anyway, he'll tell me a story that it's just like, oh, I can just imagine. Well, his books, his bookshelves even are beautiful. But his books are so pretty. And like you almost don't want to touch him. You definitely wash your hands before you touch his books. And anytime he's offered to loan me one of them, it's like, no, I don't want responsibility for that book. Like, I know I would spill my coffee on it. I just know. But he'll spend anywhere from like $50 to $100 for one book if it's the book he wants. And I'm talking beautiful books. Samantha's saying 5 bitches, 1 dog, all blue. Wow. I hope you got some sleep after that long night. Isn't it interesting how all the different parts of the story, with just a little bit more information, it makes the whole story go like on its head. Until I found out that Cindy kicked her out of the house, I had just kind of a different feel on the whole scenario. But to find out that Cindy, bless her heart, drew a boundary when it was obvious her daughter-in-law evidently wasn't able to at the time, she drew a healthy boundary and said, "Get out of my house. Leave. Now. Enough. Leave." Like she did her a favor that day. But doesn't that really throw the whole scenario completely on a different path than the one that we've been told? Hey, Mrs. Fluffer's here. And she brought her dark chocolate too. Sharon's got the coffee pot. Sharon, Mrs. Fluffer's here. We need another cup. What a difference that makes to know that it was Cindy saying, leave. And you know what? I applaud her for it. And she didn't say leave because she was trying to be mean to her daughter-in-law. She said leave because there were children who were afraid. And this whole thing of Cindy and Ronnie not going to the birthday party, I guess if their mother's going to have a meltdown and yell and scare the children, then maybe it's an act of love to not go to that party, where it was obvious in the 2 days leading up to the party that Shannon did not want them to go. She did not want them to attend. She made it clear she did not want them to attend. And then as soon as they didn't attend, oh, they didn't even go to Cece's birthday party. Yeah, according to plan. Oh, good. You caught her when she came in? Good. She has her dark chocolate to go with it, too. She'll be buzzing. She did the same thing with the wedding, too. Cindy didn't all of a sudden just one day say, I'm not going to go to the wedding. What Cindy had going on was seeing her daughter and her grandchildren and her nephew's wife get fired from the bridal party. How do you go to that wedding? What do you say to your grandchildren? Hey, kids, you know, the big wedding, and it wasn't a big wedding at all, as we know from that video, right? But you're going to say to your grandchildren, yeah, you know that wedding that you have your nice little clothes for and that you were had your heart set on and you were counting on it? Well, we're going to go ahead and go to that wedding, even though you were just treated like total crap by the bride and groom. No. Are you going to say to your daughter, you know what, we're going to go ahead and go, even though you're an outcast? No. If your daughter and grandchildren get fired by Bridezilla, you're not going to go to the wedding. That's like, again, a little bit of logic, right? A little bit of logic goes a long way with this case. And I think the deeper question is, why didn't Shannon want Chris's family at that wedding? Why didn't Shannon want Chris's family at that birthday party? Well, let's back it up a little bit. In North Carolina, her family members present. Could it be that she might have had an extended family member that maybe was vocal? Could it be there might have been something that she didn't want extended family members to be sharing with the Watts family members? I don't know. You guys are cute the way you engage with each other. I'm kind of giving Shenanigan Maker a little bit of a cold shoulder. Just a little bit. Not much of one, just a little bit. I think sometimes it's the people who we really enjoyed more that makes it more like, huh? Really? Than the ones who are just kind of like, yeah, take them or leave them, right? But yeah, think about that. Why, instead of saying Cindy didn't go to the wedding, why isn't the conversation, why didn't Shannon want Cindy at the wedding? They were getting along just fine until Jamie couldn't take the entire week off work, right? So how is that Cindy's fault? Jamie couldn't take the entire week off work. Shannon expected Jamie to take the entire week off work. So she fired her. And actually, to add insult to injury, she had Chris call and fire her. She didn't just fire Jamie. She fired children from the bridal party who already had their clothes. They were already figuring out the whole how to walk down that aisle thing. I bet you on the day of the wedding, I bet you Cindy and Ronnie probably held a big barbecue out back. I don't know if they did or not, but I bet you they did. They probably had a family get together like none other before that point. They were probably all sitting around going like, it was probably like a memorial for Chris. But if you're going to fire grandchildren, don't expect Grammy to show up because Grammy's going to be mad. Three of a Kind says people who adopt instead of shop have a special place in my heart. I think that's the discussion that needs to happen. Why didn't she want her future in-laws at the wedding? They mourned the loss of their son to the dark side. Mrs. Fluffer, do you have dark chocolate right now? I had a little bit last night and it was good. It was very good. I'm not one to talk about what other content creators are creating, but have you guys noticed that a certain someone is saying that Chris didn't know where Shannon's body was? Oh, good. So you had your chocolate. Good, good. Did you guys know? I'm not sure who in the last couple live chats, you guys are the ones who told me this. But in case you weren't here, did you guys know that the dollar dance made $10? I have never been to a wedding where the dollar dance only raked in $10. Well, maybe it wasn't about dancing quite as much as maybe she didn't want people to have loose lips and sink her ship. Mrs. Fluffer is so naive. Really? Aren't you like the woman of the world? Really? The dollar dance is where people line up to dance with the bride and groom. Most people at least do with the bride, but some people will do with the bride and groom. And then they pay $1 to dance. And they dance for just a little bit, and then the next person pays $1 and cuts in. And this is what I was told. It was on that Reddit thing. Remember, you guys, we were talking about it in one of the live chats? That what's being said is that they only raked in $10 for their dollar dance. Dollar dances usually get a couple 300 because you only play a couple songs for the dollar dance. So, they don't keep doing it all the whole time. But usually you get a couple 300. Shenanigan Maker has been to a strip club, I think. One or two. Mrs. Fluffer says, we don't do that. I'm not sure people do it anymore either. So much. They do, I guess. I don't know. Three of a Kind wants to know if we discussed the latest drama. We're not sure what the latest drama is, unless you're talking about nude photos and stuff like that. But even then, we don't know quite what all is going on. Actually, Mrs. Fluffer, I think what it is, I think it's certain religions are more known for the dollar dance. Because I know one especially It's like a mainstay. Shenanigan Maker is back. The Tuesday daytime pregnant stripper with the herp and her 5 kids at the stage while mom works makes more than SW made on her wedding night. Deirdre says, it's nice to hear the other side of the story. Ask us any question, Deirdre. We will fill you in. And I'm not trying to like, dollar dance shame anyone, but wasn't she expecting 80 people at one of the pre-wedding parties? But remember, Jamie and Cindy said there were 31 invitations, not 80. And that 25 of the people who attended were relatives. And there were 6 invitations that were mailed out to friends. And the friends did not RSVP. So Jamie picked up the phone, which is what people do if people don't RSVP, because they were making food and all. You want to kind of know who to expect, how many, right? And she called all 6 of the people who did not RSVP. And she was told by 5 of the 6 people that they would not be attending because they had other plans. Well, obviously between the time of the pre-wedding party and the wedding, especially since, the invitation sabotager was fired, surely all 80 people got their invitation. So why is a dollar dance only $10? Come on. If 80 people are there, right? Come on. A little bit of logic. Logic would dictate that she would have hauled in more than $10 for the dollar dance. Three of a Kind isn't sure either about what the drama is. She caught part of it. It did sound interesting. The little bit of it that I've heard too, it sounds pretty. To me, I don't know. It's all trash. I don't trust any of them. They're hooked together. They're all part of the same thing. If they say they're fighting with someone, I've got news for you. They're not. It's all a show. I don't think that was her first attempt, Shenanigan. I don't think that was her first attempt at all. Because remember, she was doing the lupus walk the summer that she met him. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was either that summer or the next summer that she posted, if you're giving a cash donation, then you can, if you're giving money for the lupus, fundraiser, then you can give it to her and she'll send it in to the Lupus Foundation for you. That's true, yeah. The very first says a Watts. That's true. Like in the first few minutes, you mean? Mrs. Fluffer says it's $1 a person at least here. I thought you said you didn't do it in the Northeast. Oh, $100 a person. I'm like, what? The other thing that kind of stands out is how Cindy was told by the grandmother, Chris's grandmother, that she was basically ignored. But when Shannon wanted Chris to dance with his grandmother so they could get a picture, she got a little bit of attention then, and then she was ignored for the rest of the night. You know how they always say, like, if you're dating a guy, right? Miss CD, pay attention to this. This is good information. If you're dating a guy and you're at a restaurant and the guy's kind of rude to the server, don't date that guy. You can always tell somebody's character by how they treat. I mean, it's biblical. Come on, right? We all know that. I was just going to quote the Bible, but I'm not going to do that. So if you're dating a guy and he's treating the server like crap, well, that's how he's going to be treating you once he's done, wooing you into his magical graces, right? I think if you're going to treat grandma like crap, I think if Chris's grandmother, especially think of all she did for him. Think of all she did for him, right? And she even bared the abyss. She even traveled the abyss to get there, right? She was evidently one gutsy lady. And I do know a story about her telling off Chris and Shanann too, by the way. She was one gutsy lady. She saw through all the bullshit and she said so. I don't know, maybe that's why she got ignored. But if you're going to treat Chris's grandmother like crap, it says a lot more about you than it does about Chris's grandmother. Ooh, nice. Nice, nice, nice. He stopped and bought fresh strawberries. Nice. Mrs. Fluffer says that was 15 years ago, and that's average. Exactly. Even if she was like a crappy grandmother, right? You don't ignore grandma. I mean, come on. She made it to the wedding when everyone else was boycotting it, openly boycotting it, and she went. They should have been nice to her for that alone. Brooke says I need to rewatch this. Chris's grandmother went to the wedding. She was treated like crap. She was ignored. This is according to Cindy, and Cindy got her story according to Chris's grandmother. They all but ignored her. The only time she wasn't ignored, this is what Cindy's saying, the grandma said, was when Shanann told Chris to dance with the grandma so she could get a picture. You can just imagine how that went. Probably like, okay, I give you permission to dance with her. And then click, click, take the picture. And then, okay, the dance is over. Get back here. Who knows? I don't know. All I know is if you look at those pictures, Chris looked like a doofus. And I don't think it's just because his tux didn't fit. I think he looked like he had kind of a doofus look on his face. Like, what am I doing? Remember the other day in a live chat when I was saying how I bet she needed stitches on her tongue? Talking about the grandma? Meaning that she was probably biting her tongue during the ceremony when they said, when they asked the question, if anyone objected to the union, speak now or forever hold your peace. And I made a silly joke during a few live chats ago, and I said, I bet she needed stitches on her tongue from biting her tongue so hard. Well, sure enough, people started posting comments on the channel. You're lying about her needing stitches. Like, really? Really? Are we really that dense? And sorry to tell you, but the short answer is yes, I think they are. Right. It was no excuse whatsoever. No excuse at all. He had every warning flag he needed, and he failed to respond appropriately. He should have never attended that wedding based on the way alone that his sister was treated, that his sister's children were treated, that his cousin's wife was treated. Three of a Kind saw a Facebook post where Shannon was telling a woman that she had a weight loss product that makes women lose weight in minutes. Which brings us back to what we were talking about originally, right, Miss CD? There's no way she was accepted into a nursing program. I'm sorry. I agree, Ray. I agree. He should have had enough sense to not have shown up. But yeah, she should have grabbed that boy by his ear and pulled him right on out of there. But again, the storyline is Cindy didn't go to the wedding. Yeah? Like, can we please do a virtual round of applause? Or they'll say, Cindy didn't like her as soon as she met her. Cindy said that relationship wouldn't work out. Okay, applause, right? That tells me that Cindy had a finely tuned radar. And she just, didn't like what she was seeing going on. And I'm not going to fault her for that. She said that she didn't see that relationship ending well. To which I say, she was spot on. And good for her for not going to the wedding. How many people would have gone to the wedding, put on the fake smile, been crying on the inside, fake smile on the outside, and then regret it and say to themselves later, I shouldn't have gone to the wedding, right? Cindy had the guts not to go. And I say good for her entire family for not going too. There is a certain solidarity when children are fired from a bridal party. Instead of saying Cindy didn't go to the wedding, why isn't everyone saying she fired children from the bridal party? Well, there's a sign of things to come. Brooke says in minutes. X-Lax can't even do it in minutes. That's why when people say she was 35th from the top, I'm like, what? Again, logic. Logic would dictate. If she was 35th from the top, probably she wouldn't have been using a stack of credit cards. Linda says that she would not have gone. I wouldn't have gone. If you're going to be firing grandbabies from the bridal party, see ya. Because I'd care more about the grandbabies than I would the future daughter-in-law who thinks it's okay to fire the grandbabies. That's a new name for it because Murky Meg is one of the channels that talks about Harry's wife. I think that the husbands have similarities, but I think Harry's wife actually is very intelligent. And I think she knows how to actually work. I think it's just, I guess the whole moral of the story is use some logic. She was highly successful. Okay, let's define success. Were the house payments paid? Were the HOA dues paid? Did she earn the car? According to Cindy Watts, that insurance on that car was cost prohibitive. I agree. The public is asked to drop their common sense when looking at this case, and it is frustrating. It's especially frustrating when they're so aggressive against people who are using their common sense and people who are focusing on what Bella and Cece suffered through. And then they get all, self-righteous and start posting their praying hands, acting, like they've got a special connection there. Well, I think there's a reason why she didn't want them there. I think that she had things in her past that she didn't want one of her extended family members to talk about. Yep, we're jealous of her. We're jealous of her. We're in love with Christopher Watts. And let's see what else. We're psycho, we're fat, we're crazy, we're, what was it, scorned old lonely women or something like that. I would dare say that in our little group of Bobs, we probably don't have very many in here who have been scorned. I would also say it's hard to be jealous of somebody who in 34 years failed to accomplish what probably most of us in our Bob group accomplished by the time we were 20. Oh, bitter, scorned old women. Exactly, shenanigan maker. Exactly right. If there's something really heavy to carry, I might get a little bit lonely there for a minute. Shenanigan maker said that she gets lonely, but then she gets busy and forgets about it until the next night or when my toilet clogs. I would say when there's something heavy to carry, let's see. When there's something heavy to carry, I don't know, help me out here, Bobs. Well, as you get older, shenanigan maker, that works out for you. You just kind of collect them along the way. Like my friend who I told you guys about, who we dated for 2 weeks, and that was a long, long time ago, and now we laugh about it all the time. He's really smart with fixing cars, right? I traveled one time 778 miles in one day, okay, which is not that unusual. If you're into turnpike driving, that's not that big of a deal. I get home. Well, actually, I didn't get home. I get to town and I pulled in somewhere. I don't know where. Trying to think. I don't know. But I turned my car off. But then I was on my way home, obviously, because I was tired. But I turned my car off, ran in, came back out. My car wouldn't start. So I'm like, what? Right? I bought the car brand new. It didn't have that many miles on it. It didn't start. So I called my buddy, who I know is a genius with cars. I'm like, okay, hey, I have a question. I just drove all the way, blah, 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 which he knew because we had talked earlier that day. Because when I do those long drives, I stay on the phone a lot. And hands free, speakerphone. And I'm like, yeah, my car won't start. And over the phone, he said, it's probably your alternator. I'm like, what do you mean? He said, where are you at? And I told him. He stopped and got an alternator. And he whipped that baby into my car, whipped the other one out, whipped that one in, like in a flash. I stood there the whole time, blah, 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 telling him all about my trip, blah, 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 blah. And he had me all set with a new alternator. Poof. So I'm just telling you, shenanigan maker, as you get older, you'll see, you have certain friends who are like really good with, I don't know, evidently you need a plumber. Well, when you get older, you'll have a plumber, you'll have an auto mechanic, you'll have good friends who can do all of it. They do expect dinner, pretty much. And they expect, a lot of fun and laughter too. Like, don't be a Debbie Downer, right? Don't go like, oh no, your toilet's plugged again or whatever. Say it with a joke. Say it with a laugh. Yeah, three of a kind. I searched my own live thing and it didn't come up. So yeah. Evidently YouTube doesn't like the truth channels to be out front and center. Can you guys hear me? I think I had it muted. Did you hear me laughing? Yeah, really. Yeah, the plungers are like $1. You should go to the Alice Cooper channel and have her take you to a dollar store. You can hear me now though, right? So I take it you didn't hear me laughing? There's a comment posted on the channel from the person who got mad earlier. And let me tell you something, my radar was working. I think what Shenanigan Maker is saying is that she just doesn't do toilets. You know, there are some things that women were just not born to do. I personally think that women were not born to pump gas. We simply weren't born to do that. I'm sorry. Carrying heavy things, putting gas in the car, I think you'll find though, Shenanigan Maker, that without a guy, you're probably not going to need a plunger. Unless you're flushing stuff you shouldn't, or trying to. Yeah, same here, Susie. I hear ya. I definitely hear ya. I know, I think our radar's getting tired. So how about we do this again sometime soon? If you're one of the ones in Patreon, then what I uploaded today is what I'll be uploading pretty much, I would say, every other day. I should be able to try to do it like a steady clip. Nah, I'll say every third day. That way when you see it every other day, then you'll go, oh, she's early. I know I can do it every third day. And it's going to be a while. Because I actually never realized it before until I started reading and reading and reading. It's like, wow, that was just one page. But I think it's cool. I think it'll be fun. And I love your comments and your emails. You guys are cool. Oh my gosh, you're getting it Monday already? No way. No way. Very cool. You'll have one before I have it. That'll be fun to hear what you think, Susie. And to see if there's anything in there that you're going like, what? Yeah, mine isn't until after that, but I'm ordering what they call the author copies. So maybe that's why. Oh, you're welcome, Sharon, and thanks for the coffee, hon. You are a kick butt coffee maker. Now Sharon wants to say, good night, John boy. Right, Sharon? You know you love him. Thanks, Miss CD. Thank you for being here. Of course you can, Shenanigan Maker. We won't beat you up too bad. Good night, Grandma. Good night, Mary Ellen. You guys have a great rest of the holiday weekend. Oh, let's answer Three of a Kind here. Three of a Kind wants to know what it said on the post. So let me go to it so that I get it right. Okay, drastic measures. This is what Shannon Watts posted on March 2nd of 2017. I looked it up. It would have been a Thursday morning at 9:57 a.m. So that tells me that Christopher Watts was at work while the kids were both in daycare full time. And this is what she posted in a support group online for survivors of spousal abuse. My thingy's scrolling, so it'll take just a second. Sorry. This is what she posted. Quote, I'm scared. I made some choices during a moment of weakness. He knows. I believe he made similar choices. He doesn't know that I know. I've fallen in love, though, and I'm scared it's going to take drastic measures to be with the one I truly belong with. So there you go, Three of a Kind. Everyone enjoy the rest of your holiday weekend, and we'll do this very soon. Until then, remember, be safe, be healthy, be happy, and know that you are loved.